Hey, Pat,
Okay.
come over here. We met before, I think.
Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for streaming with us here this afternoon. I'm Tom Haynes, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. We're so glad you're here on what has been a difficult day in Barrow County, as Appalachia High School marks 1 year to the day of the horrific shooting that happened there on campus. The school marking the occasion, though, in a positive way, one in a spirit of togetherness and giving back to help the folks on that campus get through this very, very sad and difficult time. Tyler Finger live there on the campus. Tyler, this has been sort of billed as a day of prevailing love at Appalachia.
Yeah, Tom, good afternoon to you. That is right. I mean, let's just start here. It is just absolutely hard to imagine that it has been 1 year since the shooting that happened here at Appalachia High School, where 4 people were killed, 2 teachers and 2 students, and 9 others were wounded. This is a community that is still very much healing, but they are finding strength in all of this. And I want to show you some video. The front marquee had a tribute today, which showed the 4 names of the victims. It was just outside where people on the front lawn and also people driving by would be able to see the names of the 4 people who sadly lost their lives here 1 year ago. Appalachia High School is in session on the solemn 1-year anniversary of the shooting that claimed the lives of the 2 students and 2 teachers. Today, in part, the district says is about honoring Mason Schermerhorn, Christian Angulo, Christina Idemi, and Richard Aspinwall. The school says they're in person today for the students and staff who need support and want to be together. They say it is a day of giving back, receiving support, and growing closer with one another. They're referring to it as a day of prevailing love. As Tom mentioned, there was a morning of community service project. There was a community service project. There's also opportunities for students and staff to participate in healing and wellness-focused activities and mental health support sessions this afternoon. This morning, I talked one-on-one with Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith, who talked about the day that changed the lives of these kids and educators. Take a listen to what he had to say about what students and staff are doing today.
A lot of people were dreading today, but the students and the staff are so resilient in what they dealt with that day in public safety that they decided today that they're going to have a day of service and a day of remembrance for the 4 that were taken from us. So that's what they're doing today. The kids that are there are packing bags for the homeless. They're giving back to our homeless shelters here and our different civic groups. And that's what they chose to do. And that tells you what Chi Nation is about. It tells you what Barrow County and our community is about. We don't want to give this evil person any credit, any credibility. He took from us that day, but he's not going to take anything going forward. And that's why we want people to understand that we are a community that fights back, and we are a community that when things happen to us, we rally together and we dust ourselves off and we let everybody know that we're gonna be better for what we're doing, and we're gonna be strong, and that's what Chi Strong comes from and Barrow County Strong comes from.
And back out here live, school is still in session for a little bit longer. It doesn't appear that every single student showed up today. The parking lot for where students park is not completely full. The educator parking lot where the students, teachers, and staff park, that one is definitely full today. So I think some students decided to stay home. We haven't gotten the official count from Barrow County schools just yet. But obviously this was a choice for them. This was not a mandatory day. This was purely something where the students could decide to come here if they felt it was better to be with everyone and to be able to receive some of the different things going on today. I know there was a mural being painted. I should also mention at 7 o'clock tonight, just beyond my shoulder, over at the flagpole right there outside of Appalachia High School, they will be holding a vigil tonight. Tom.
Tyler, it's just listening to you and talking to the sheriff and seeing the scene behind you there. I just remember being on the air for an extended period of time that day, watching this horrific tragedy unfold, but also observing, even as the sheriff said, the strength and the resilience not only of the students, but the first responders who were there that day, and even the composure of the parents in an otherwise completely frantic situation, them arriving on campus to find out what was going on and if their child was even safe.
Yeah, and the sheriff talked about that today. He said he's not only proud of the students and teachers and the educators for everything that they've dealt with over the last year, but he's proud of his own deputies and also the law enforcement who showed up here on September 4th, 2024 to respond here to an unknown situation. He once again, during our interview this morning, praised the SROs who jumped into action, were able to confront the alleged school shooter, Colt Gray, and get him to surrender without taking any more lives, because he says if they didn't do what they did, there's a chance that this could have been even worse until it took time for other law enforcement to arrive. So you just have to imagine just what it was like that day, and then also just now what everyone is feeling 1 year later, knowing that 4 people never made it out of this school 1 year ago today.
We remember them to this day, Tyler. Strength, resilience, a day of prevailing love, all on display where you are this afternoon up in Barrow County at Appalachia High School. Tyler Finger live with the remembrances there. Political leaders not wasting an opportunity to use this occasion. Georgia House Democrats holding a news conference of sorts today at the state capitol. Deidre Dukes live there. Deidre, interested in what they had to say on this somber anniversary.
Yeah, and it was, in fact, Tom, a somber gathering under the Gold Dome today as those groups gathered to reflect on all that was lost 1 year ago. We had Democratic state lawmakers, we had current and former Appalachia High School students, and also gun safety advocates who wanted to honor those who lost their lives and also wanted to share their compassion for the family members that were left behind, offering their condolences. Now, those who were on campus when the shooting happened talked about this past year and the impact that the shooting had on those who lived through the tragedy. They also asked what could be done moving forward to ensure something like this never happens again. They said that some are still healing and fear more gun violence. Now, one person we talked to who has been among those lobbying for change in the wake of the shooting says recent changes in Georgia school safety laws are a good start.
I think HB 268 is a great start, and I'm hoping that they do expand more and looking into more of the threats that are being made across Georgia. I think we need to do something to really circumvent that from happening in our communities because they just keep happening.
Again, now he represents Barrow County, and he used this opportunity to praise law enforcement for their quick response the day of the shooting. And he also said that he believes mental health must be a key component moving forward with any talk about controlling gun violence, addressing this important issue.
It's the mental health issue that we've got to deal with, and that's where, for me, I hope that we can continue to make progress in that regard. I know that, when it comes to safe storage, I was proud that the district attorney actually went after the parents for allowing that 14-year-old to have access to that firearm. That's one of those things that's important that, people need to be held accountable. And I will tell you that it's a tragedy, and nobody wants to see their loved ones killed in gun violence.
And so we can expect to see next legislative session, as we saw this past year, more gun safety legislation brought to the forefront. Democrats and Republicans often at odds as to what is the best means of addressing gun violence, the best means of making sure that guns are secured, that we are providing mental health care for those who need it. Just so many issues surrounding this topic, Tom, that Republicans and Democrats sometimes find that they can't meet in the middle on. But both sides agreeing that in this instance, there has been some progress made within the past year as a result of the Appalachia High shooting.
Wow, and that was my question to you, Deidre. I mean, you're so familiar with the inner workings of the state capitol and how these politicians come together. And they always, after tragedies like this, seem to come out, the Democrats on one side calling for, gun safety legislation, gun control legislation, Republicans talking about mental health, the importance of that. We know that the suspected shooter here suffered with those conditions. One just wonders if the two can ever sort of meet in the middle and come up with legislation that can benefit our community and the safety of our students.
Well, Tom, as you know, we've seen not only at the state level here in Georgia, but also the national level as well. Every time we have a school shooting, the most recent one we saw at a Catholic school in Minnesota, we see both sides agreeing that something must be done, but very different ends of the spectrum as far as what needs to be done. We do oftentimes hear Republicans speaking more to the need for increased mental health, focus on that, as opposed to Democrats who tend to say, guns are the problem, that it's not only a mental health issue, but that both components must be put together in order to get a handle on this ongoing problem.
Well, certainly some strong feelings, as you said, on both sides of the issue. Deidre Dukes covering both sides for us this afternoon, live from the state capitol. Deidre, thanks. The chief executive of our state also offering his thoughts on what happened at Appalachia High School. Governor Kemp releasing a statement saying a full year after the tragedy, saying in part, we continue to mourn the victims. We're grateful for the first responders and law enforcement for quick and heroic actions, committed to keeping all the victims in our memories. We remain committed to keeping our classrooms, all of those in Georgia schools, safe. Those words in part from our governor this afternoon. So switching gears now to another hot topic here in our state, and it's one we've been covering for quite some time, and that is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As we take a live look here over the campus where just a few weeks ago, a shooting left one DeKalb County deputy dead, the gunman taking his own life, and front and center in all that's been going on at the CDC has been Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who testified today before the Senate Finance Committee. And boy, did they have a lot of questions for him. For hours, he faced grilling from senators about the moves that he's been making at his department since being confirmed. A lot of people inside that campus not happy with what's going on. He did address the shooting from across the street there at the CDC and the death of Officer David Rose. In addition, talking about the recent firing of the CDC director, Dr. Susan Menares. Listen to what RFK Jr. had to say.
CDC failed that responsibility miserably during COVID, when its disastrous and nonsensical policies destroyed small businesses, violated civil liberties, closed our schools, caused generational damage in doing so. I want to express my deepest condolence to the family of DeKalb County Police Officer David Rose. I'd like Officer Rose's family to know that he remains in our prayers and that he will continue to be in our thoughts.
It's important to note in recent weeks, Kennedy dismantled a panel that made vaccine recommendations, something that was a controversial move, but one that President Trump had campaigned on in the run-up to the election, even bringing RFK Jr. out on the stage several times. So clearly there was some sort of mandate for some sort of change. How that change manifests itself is being played out right now. What started as sort of restricting access to the COVID-19 vaccine furthered into canceling grants for the development of mRNA vaccines. Kennedy saying he's not anti-vaccine at all, but he is pro-science. And he said that the CDC, in his words, was one of the most corrupt agencies in the federal government and needed examining to restore the public trust in that agency. Georgia Senator John Ossoff coming out calling for Senator Kennedy to resign today in a statement from the senator. And listen to part of an exchange that was really interesting between our other senator, Senator Raphael Warnock, and RFK Jr. During this hours-long hearing today.
To ask you a series of yes or no questions about the events of the past month, and I would appreciate just a yes or no response. You called Dr. Menares to your office on August 25th for a meeting. Is that correct? Yes or no?
It could be. I just don't know the date. I'd have to check my calendar.
Was Jim O'Neill the man you just appointed as acting director of CDC
Yeah.
in the room on whatever date you met with him, since you can't recall? Was he in the room when you met
Yes.
with Dr. Manarez? In that meeting, did you criticize Dr. Manarez for her statements to CDC following the shooting where she said, quote, misinformation can be dangerous?
I don't believe so. I have no recollection.
You don't believe you criticized her?
Oh, I criticized her.
Did you criticize
Not
her?
for that.
Did you criticize her?
I don't even.
Did you
I don't know
criticize her
anything
for her
about that
statements
statement.
to CDC workers following the shooting?
Did I what?
Did you demand that she fire career scientists or public experts at the CDC?
Yes.
Did you demand that she accept the recommendations of your hand-picked vaccine advisory panel without further review by career CDC scientists?
No, I did not.
You didn't ask for her commitment ahead of time that she would accept the recommendations from the advisory panel. You're denying
what
that?
I asked her about is she had made a statement that she was going to not sign on, and I wanted clarification about that.
Did you tell her to accept the advisory panel's recommendations?
I told her I didn't want her to have a rule that she's not going to sign on to it.
Did you say that the CDC was, quote, the most corrupt federal agency in the history of the world?
Not the history of the world, but definitely
Did you
within
say-
HHS.
did you say that?
I did not say that, but I did say it's the most corrupt agency at HHS, and maybe the government.
So you called the CDC corrupt. Did you say that CDC staff are, quote, horrible people?
Horrible people?
Did you say that they're killing children and they don't care?
No.
Okay, I think that we all have a history of listening to you and these answers, but you're on the record for a number of these statements. Despite your lack of credentials and expertise, clearly you have an agenda. It is a threat to the public health of the American people. It's clear that you are carrying out your extremist beliefs, which is why you attempted to fire Dr.
Senator, we're the
Manarez.
sickest people in the world.
I'm
We're the sickest people on earth.
I'm speaking.
How am I a threat?
Secretary Kennedy, for the first time, we're seeing deaths from children from measles. We haven't seen that in 2 decades. We're seeing that under your watch. You are a hazard to the health of the American people.
Can I respond to that, Senator?
No, I claim back my time.
We need to wrap
You are
up.
a hazard to the health of the American people. I think that you ought to resign. And if you don't resign, the President of the United States, who put forward Operation Warp Speed, which worked, should fire you. Thank you so much.
All right, Senator Raphael Warnock delivering a pretty brutal question and answer session with RFK Jr. Obviously, the White House completely disagreeing with Senator Warnock, the Democrat from Georgia, calling Kennedy one of the world's foremost voices, advocates, and experts on public health. So a lot of differing opinions on how things are operating at the CDC. Obviously, a very, very difficult month for that agency as this situation continues to evolve. We, of course, will cover it. After all, the CDC is right here in Georgia and in our own backyard. Well, as you can see, there's a cloudy horizon there on the campus of the CDC as we look off to Stone Mountain. So the question is, on this Thursday, how's the weather going to cooperate over the weekend? That, plus some crazy video, which you've got to see, a car careening off of 85 right into the water below. Our Doug Evans on that story this afternoon. We're going to do you right after Doug.
Okay.
All right.
Did you all talk to me earlier?
Welcome back. We're so glad you're with us on this Thursday afternoon here in the 3 p.m. hour of Fox Local. Thanks for streaming with us here on YouTube. Found out we're also streaming on TikTok, which is awesome. And a lot of people were watching us yesterday, too. So welcome to you as well. And our radio listeners, 107.9 HD2 FM. A crazy scene unfolding today in Troup County. A pickup truck careens off of the highway, was traveling southbound on I-85, and plunges into a creek below. It was kind of a horrific scene. Our Doug Evans posted some video on X of what happened in the aftermath. Doug, you've gotten more information from police about what happened here and what might have caused that truck to lose control.
Yeah, Tom, it was really strange. I was on my way down to Troup County anyway for a story today, and got rerouted by the sheriff's office to this scene. So I was right there as firefighters were down in the water with this truck. Let me show you some of the video, and you can see what I saw out there today. So here's what we know. For some reason, this GMC pickup truck veered off of the southbound lanes of Interstate 85, kind of threaded in between a guardrail and those cable barriers. Traveled, I'm told, 800 feet in the grassy median, and then went airborne into a creek, a flat creek it is, that runs under an overpass there on 85. What happened next, just amazing. An off-duty firefighter, as well as an officer from Fort Benning, stopped their cars on the interstate. They saw it. Made their way down into the creek, and it's treacherous, man. It's a long way down there, and it's very hard to get down there. They waded into the water, swam because we're told it's very deep, and then got the man out of the pickup truck, brought him to the shore, and started first aid. That continued when Troup County firefighters got there on the scene as well. Unfortunately, we're told, Tom, that the man died there at the scene. We still don't know what caused him to go off the road in the first place. Let's hear from our Troup County Sheriff PIO, Lieutenant Stuart Smith, about this rescue attempt by these two people
that stopped on the interstate and went down to the car in the creek. It's very deep water down here, and they're able to get the victim out of the car, and at that point life-saving measures were began on the creek of the creek down here.
Understand one of them might be from Fort Benning.
We understand one of the people may have been a soldier in the Fort Benning area. Another one was a firefighter, we believe, from the Atlanta area. And just so much appreciation to them. They don't have to do that. Citizens don't have to do that, but they did what they thought was best, and they stopped to get this person out of the car before we got here. And then we got here, and life-saving measures continued on the creek side. And unfortunately, it does appear the victim did not make it in this case, but we're just very appreciative of the people that stopped and called this in.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tragic day for this driver of this pickup truck, and we don't know anything about him just yet. A very tragic day for his family. But I hope that his family draws some comfort from the fact that these two men, these two heroes, braved that water and that treacherous climb down there into the water, and did their absolute best to try to save this man.
Yeah, that is definitely part of this story, the heroics on the part of the off-duty first responder and the service member who kind of risked their own lives going into that murky water. You don't even know what's in there to see if this driver was still alive. Sadly, he's not. But as you say, it's going to be a difficult day for that driver's family. But just hats off to those folks who did such a good and brave deed today, Doug.
Yeah, you know, and they were. You could just see the appreciation by the first responders there that I talked to on the scene, their appreciation for those two people. And then you've got the firefighters themselves. They've got to go down there next, right? and they've got to go and they've got to take over the first aid. And then they're responsible for helping get that truck out of there with the interstate at times still open and that thing connected to a crane, and there's a firefighter below holding a rope to keep it steady.
Wow.
I mean, there's just any amount of bravery going on down there in Flat Creek today.
Yeah, you just, as you said, wonder what the heck happened and what caused that driver. Was it a medical incident or something to lose control to go off the highway?
Yeah.
Doug, thanks so much. I want to turn now to something a lot of us are talking about, and that is the weather. It's gotten warmer out there. We started the week off really, really nice, and then the temperatures went up. It's starting to rain in a lot of places. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Jonathan, we're getting closer and closer to the weekend. We want the weather back that was happening in the beginning of the week.
And by the looks of it, Tom, the weather is not about to settle down anytime soon. In fact, we'll stay unsettled from this moment on through Saturday. So let's get to Fox 5 Live Viper Radar and dig into what we have here. If you take a 30,000 foot view here, maybe even higher than that, 50,000 feet view, it doesn't look like much is going on, but there are a few cells that have popped up across the area, and they can be disruptive, especially if you have plans and you're under the gun in terms of the shower activity. Right now, over 400 from Alpharetta to Milton, we're seeing a few cells pop up, now moving into southern Forsyth County near the Halcyon area. Go out to 20 there, Rockdale County, dealing with a few cells. We've also seen some energy bubble up here as you go into Jackson County along and near the I-85 corridor, approaching the outlets there just outside of Commerce. Jefferson, you're getting scathed by a shower just to your north and to the east. And then a little cell has popped up in South Bartow County that is rolling over portions of Allatoona, Lake Allatoona that is. Cobb, you're dry at the moment, but we're also seeing a few cells likely popping up in Fulton County within the next couple of minutes outside of that lone cell that's on the north side. This is the area we'll be watching for the afternoon going into the evening hours. This is the Georgia line as you move into North Carolina, Tennessee. This is an area where storms are likely to develop, and I'll show you some signals of that in just a moment. Move down south and you'll find a smattering of storms on either side of Heard, Troup counties, going out to 75, dry for the most part. Roll down to Macon and you'll find some showers there in Bibb County right over the lake. So not only do we have some wet weather, but we also have the return of hot weather. Temperatures, they have flown into the 80s today. In fact, we can say that we are now at where we should be for this time of the year with the current temperature at 87 degrees. That is the average high temperature for what is the 4th day of September. 88 in Covington, 88 in Eatonton, 86 Thomaston, 88 also for LaGrange. You've even made it to 80 degrees there in Blairsville. But when you factor in that we have winds out of the southwest, those dew points are climbing, and we have feels like numbers that are now at or above 90 degrees. 90 in Atlanta, 91 in Covington and in Rome, feeling like 90 degrees in Eatonton and LaGrange. This is just a precursor to what the air will feel like tomorrow. We've got a front that is driving out some severe storms over East Tennessee, now stretching into western North Carolina into the Virginias next, and then up the I-95 corridor as this front trudges its way over the Appalachian Mountains. What I am looking for are severe storms that break out in southern Middle Tennessee and North Alabama. That will give us an idea as to how the atmosphere may react as we get deeper into the day, going into the post-sunset period, as that energy moves into our neck of the woods. And once again, I'm talking about far north Georgia. They're under a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe storms, really stretching from the Alabama state line all the way to the South Carolina state line. Clay County, North Carolina included, along with Rabun County, Towns, Union, Fannin, Gilmer. And we'll throw in Murray, Whitfield, Catoosa, and portions of Walker and Dade counties. Once again, you're not under a severe thunderstorm watch, but this is the area that is primed for some gusty winds that could be damaging winds, and also some pockets of hail. Anybody in the green shade here basically has an opportunity to get something, and you can see that green shaded line stretches all the way down into our lake country. So we'll be watching this area. It's ripe for some thunderstorm development. I'll run you quickly through the models here, Tom. You can see here there's not much out there, but if you're under it, it looks like and it feels like a whole lot. Models are now saying that we're going to get sprayed with a little something tomorrow. I'm not really buying it, but if we do, it just gives us some relief because the heat will be high. By the time we wake up Saturday morning, things are going to look okay, but it's diminishing in terms of the look doesn't look so good by the time you get out and about, maybe around 11, 12 o'clock. The skies are going to look a bit suspicious. There's some rain associated with it. When does the rain develop? Well, it looks like it holds off into the afternoon as that front settles down across the area. There are storms that really fire up to the south and to the east of I-85. So we'll have our eyes on that action. The good news is we hope to push it out of here by the time we wake up Sunday morning. However, if you are interested in UGA, the Dogs are definitely in town this weekend, and there could be some trouble on their hands at 3 o'clock at Sanford Stadium.
All right. Well, we're going to be watching for that, Jonathan.
Yes,
and I'm going to be out on the lake on Saturday, okay? So if you have any power with the weather gods, just try to hold off the rain in the early hours, like 11-ish.
11-ish?
11 to 1-ish.
Is somebody celebrating something this weekend?
Maybe
Okay.
yours truly.
Maybe yours truly. Got it. Okay.
But we're kind of in denial about that, so we're just going to let that one go.
We'll confer with them to see if we can work some birthday magic.
Jonathan, thanks so much. There was a lot happening in Washington, D.C. today. Melania Trump hosting an AI and technology event at the White House. The president inviting all the bigwigs of tech to the White House, as well as Zuckerberg and Gates and Tim Cook. All the heavyweights, okay? So there's a lot to talk about there. But what does it mean for you and me? Where's AI going, and how do we secure ourselves? We're going to talk to a really, really interesting guy down in the Tampa Bay area who's kind of transformed that whole area into an AI and tech hub and cybersecurity. Okay, this is all something that matters to us as we continue here. We are back. Thanks so much for being with us today on what's been a very, very busy news day. We've covered so much ground here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. We're so glad that you're with us today. I want to show you a live picture of the White House, always a busy place. Today, First Lady Melania Trump hosted a big meeting there about AI, its future, cybersecurity, the impact on children. And you can see the panel there that she's assembled, studying how the exponential growth of artificial intelligence is affecting America's children. She gathered a big roundtable of tech leaders and cabinet secretaries, and invited members of a task force that she's assembled and some private sector folks there to talk about how to best educate our students in this AI world that we're now all in.
We must ensure America's talent, our workforce, is prepared to sustain AI's progress. And the Presidential AI Challenge is our first major step to galvanize America's parents, educators, and students with this mission. English is a new coding language for many, and with it, creativity will flow from every corner of America, sparking new industries, careers, and jobs. By supporting the Presidential AI Challenge, you are investing in our youth, America's next era builders.
So what about Melania Trump's role as the First Lady of Technology? Arnie Bellini is an impressive guy, was kind enough to join us today. He's a venture capital investor, co-founder of a software company called ConnectWise. He lives down in the Tampa Bay area. And Arnie, you and I were talking about a little bit about during the break what you've been able to do down there. You've really put a footprint down in the Tampa Bay area and turned it into sort of a hub for cybersecurity, AI, and the next generation of innovators.
Yeah, well, thank you for the compliment. I haven't done it. The good news is the ecosystem for cybersecurity and artificial intelligence is really here in the Tampa Bay area. And that's going to have far-reaching effect to the entire United States of America, because we're tackling the biggest problems with artificial intelligence and cybersecurity at the University of South Florida. And, the First Lady, Melania Trump, she's so dead on. She is a smart woman, and she nailed it when she said, this is going to change everything. And then, you want to look at what President Trump has done with AI. He's brought $15 trillion worth of investment coming to the United States. A good portion of that's going to end up in the AI space, putting the United States in the capital first, #1 pole position for AI in the world. And so we've got a real responsibility and a real opportunity at the same time.
Tell us, Arnie, how, because I don't think a lot of people really fully understand the impact of AI. I mean, we have ChatGPT and we see how some Waymo cars are driving themselves around, but tell us about the impact of AI, not only on industry, but the workforce as well, because it's going to have a huge impact on both.
Well, if you look at the United States economy, we stand to benefit the most from AI. We have more professional services in the United States, and we export that to the entire world. And so that's the #1 place where you're going to see massive productivity with artificial intelligence. And that isn't coming. That's here now, right? And so what I think is so interesting about artificial intelligence is it's the new Google, right? You need to defer to it. You need to start searching with it and asking it questions. And so I think it's an opportunity for everyone in the United States to jump on the AI bandwagon early. Let's all get way more productive with artificial intelligence, and let's teach it, as the First Lady's talking in the Presidential Challenge. Let's make sure that we're teaching that in K through 12 and making sure that our children are best prepared for the world that AI is carving out. And it is a very different world. So we need that.
I have so many questions and not a ton of time, but am I wrong here? I have 2 children, and sometimes I think that AI is really taking away from our kids' abilities to be critical thinkers, to be readers and creators, and to automatically go to an automated space of information and find it so easily, instead of when I was a kid, having the Encyclopedia Britannica in front of me and cutting things out to my parents' rage, okay, out of the encyclopedias, but at least I had to go find it.
Well, but was that useful, you having to find it? What about if it was right at your fingertips and everyone in the world, not just those fortunate enough to be able to afford an Encyclopedia Britannica, because I'm older than you, so I lived off the Encyclopedia Britannica too. I didn't cut into mine, but the point is everyone has that now. So this is all of the knowledge of the world. Every novel, okay, every bit of music, every bit of art, it's all been digitized, and artificial intelligence is ingesting all of this. And so it's an opportunity to catapult your own career, your own potential infinitely. And that's the way people need to look at artificial intelligence, as a tool to catapult their career and their intelligence into a, well, not infinite, but much higher position.
You know, excellent points, but how do we reconcile the benefits of picking up a book or reading a newspaper instead of it all being digitized and happening so fast? I know we live in a world of instance. You cannot turn back time. You do have to adapt, but there is sort of an intellectual benefit in doing the latter.
Yeah, so I would look at it more like the fact that as long as you're keeping your mind busy, you just get to put your mind at a higher level of thinking now, right? So AI is doing all this base work for you, right? I mean, you don't have to look anything up. You talk to ChatGPT and you ask it information, then you tell it to remember that. It's the best personal assistant you'll ever have. And so you leverage that so that you become a much more productive human. You're still exercising your brain. It really is about exercising your brain, right? We didn't have any choice. We had to go look it up in Encyclopedia Britannica, the dictionary, and whatnot. And that was automatic brain activity. But now you just take it to a new level, and that's the way to use AI. And that's what we need to. That's why we need to transform our education system all around AI.
We have these two parallel worlds, ones that you've laid out so brilliantly. How do we sort of become more technological, faster, better, without becoming a more vulnerable world, both personally and in the corporate space?
Well, it depends on what you mean by vulnerability. For me, vulnerability with AI is exactly what First Lady Melania Trump mentioned today, which is, hey, it can be misguided, right? And we have to make sure that we're guiding it properly. And AI should be treated as if we are guiding and mentoring our own children, because it is this precocious child that's super smart, but it still needs guidance. And so it's how that AI model is guided in order to, that is the essence of how AI will come back to us in our society, is how it is modeled. So it will reflect our culture, it will reflect our knowledge, and it needs to also reflect our ethics. And I think that's where everyone's worried, right?
And real quick and real tight, if you can, before I let you go, I want to give you a chance to shout out kudos to the University of South Florida, because I know a lot of young people are watching us now and are trying to find the place where they can go to learn all about what we're talking about.
Yeah, so at the Bellini College of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity at the University of South Florida, we have 3,000 students. We're going to 5,000. We have scholarships available. We want the very best AI and cybersecurity students coming and joining the mission in the Tampa Bay area, which we call Cyber Bay.
All right, Arnie Bellini, you were the right person to talk to this afternoon on the heels of the First Lady's gathering up in Washington, D.C. Arnie, thanks.
Thank you.
When we come back, a wild situation at one residence in Locust Grove. Not one, but two people are dead this afternoon, and for very different reasons, but connected to the same situation. We're going to tell you about that as we continue right here. Welcome back on what has been a very busy afternoon here in the 3 p.m. streaming hour. It always is, right? There's so much going on all the time, but I'm happy to be able to bring it all to you right here live on Fox Local. Appreciate you streaming with us on your mobile device, watching on your TV at home, following us on our YouTube channel, or if you're listening to us on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM. We got a wild scene to talk to you about in Locust Grove. The coroner driving away with not one, but two bodies today. One of them pregnant. They are deceased for two different reasons, and there's a crime scene here involved. Kevin Stewart is on the scene of where all of this went down today. Kevin?
And Tom, right now we are still trying to get the official names of the victims in this case, but I can tell you that a family member did tell me off camera that the woman was pregnant. I want you to take a look behind me. This is the home here on Cadence Street. This scene cleared up around 12:30 this afternoon, but it all began around 3:40 this morning. Locust Grove police arrived here at the Berkeley Lakes subdivision at this home. They were forced to try to make their way into the home, and when they got inside, immediately they were met with a man with a knife. After trying to take him down, trying to tase him, police ended up shooting him dead. When they went to the second floor of the house, officers found a woman dead, badly burned. It's unclear right now how she died. Locked in another room were other people, including a child.
We heard a bunch of sirens coming through the neighborhood because we live at the entrance coming in. And after we saw about 3 or 4 police cars, then the ambulance, the fire truck, when we got through seeing all of that, coming through, it raised concern for us. So my son and I got up and came on around to the neighborhood, and that's when I took video of a lot of the fire apparatus, police, and everything. Then we saw them putting out the crime scene tape. When we saw the crime scene tape, we knew then that it was more than just a fire. It's a tragic situation that this had to happen this way, and especially in our community, because pretty much everyone kind of watches out for everyone.
Now, the family member that I spoke to, who did not want to share her name, she said she was a great niece of the victim, described her as a great mother. We're going to continue to follow the story. We're checking in with police and the coroner's office to find out if we can get some identifications and get more details, but that's what we know for now. Tom?
To be really clear about what police say or think happened, was this woman deceased before that fire? In other words, was there some sort of domestic dispute between these two?
That's one of the things that we're trying to figure out was how was she killed? But right now we do not know. That's something that is either going to be released from the coroner's office or the police, and we'll continue to check back on that. But that is definitely one of those questions. They went in, when they went upstairs, the fire wasn't completely put out. They found her dead, and the fire department extinguished the fire.
Well, you can understand why that neighborhood is rattled this afternoon, given the circumstances to what happened there. Kevin Stewart, we know you'll continue to collect information and have the latest for us here. Thanks. We have an innovative story for you now. It's one in which a local business is showing their support for women with breast cancer. It's an issue that a lot of women in our community are facing. It's called Brew Day. It's at Sweetwater Brewing, and it's happening today. Eli Jordan was there. Eli, where are you? It looks like you're in some sort of cellar there at the brewing company.
I'm actually in the coolest place in the world. I mean, just check out all of this beer, Tom. I mean, I couldn't help. I mean, I just love it here, Tom. No, but seriously, Sweetwater Brewery, they turn out about 500,000 kegs per year. And today they were turning out a special batch along with breast cancer survivors, helping them out. And what they were doing is they were making this batch for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's Casting for Recovery is the nonprofit that the sales of that batch is going to benefit. Now, they're, excuse me. Now, Casting for Recovery has been around for like 30 years, and they've helped out like 12,500 people. And the proceeds of this are going to be going to Casting for Recovery, and they take women, breast cancer survivors, breast cancer patients, out to go fishing, fly fishing up in North Georgia. And it's a really cool thing because fly fishing is awesome. Not only is it good for your mental health, but they say it's good for women who have gone through surgeries and whatnot, when the casting motion. I spoke with Lynn Lomas, who's the program coordinator, and here's what she had to say.
Casting for Recovery is a national nonprofit that does free weekend retreats for women who've had a breast cancer diagnosis, which is a free weekend for them. And it's just a healing weekend in nature and a little bit of fly fishing also.
It's also somewhat therapeutic physically, correct?
Exactly. It all started because of two women. One was a breast cancer surgeon. The other was a professional fly fisher. And they hung together and discovered that fishing was a great exercise for women who've had surgery. Plus, it puts them out in nature, and fish are in beautiful places.
So the act of casting the rod out there helps, I guess, tone or stretch any scar tissue.
Right, exactly. Not only that, I mean, because you're out in nature, you're not thinking about treatment. You're not thinking about cancer, hopefully.
So what was it like today to be in there at the bat and, being part of this special brew that Sweetwater is doing?
That's really fun. We're still waiting on the name, but actually learning how it's made and getting to partake in the making of it was really great.
What all is in it? What kind of flavor profile are we looking at?
This is going to be awesome. Number one, it's going to be sour. So you're going to drink it, you're going to get a little bit of tartness. It's also got hibiscus in there, so it's going to have a great pinkish color. It's also going to have a little bit of wine flavor in there, so we're going for a rosé. This thing is very complex, should be delicious.
And it'll only be available here, though, at the tap room, correct?
As far as I understand, this is the spot to get it.
And it'll be served at pints and growlers and...
Pints and growlers and crowlers, which are big cans.
Awesome. And so what's it like for you as a brewer to help contribute to a cause that helping in casting for recovery?
I mean, this is what it's all about. You're doing something that you love. You're making something that you love. People love what you're making, and then you give it back to the community. And then these people, this charity, this is amazing. They're taking it outside. They're casting for recovery. That's what we're all about. Rainbow trout, that's our logo.
It seems like outdoors and fly fishing is in the DNA of Sweetwater.
It is. Outdoors, having a good time with a cold Sweetwater, that's it.
One last question. This batch right here, how many, just give it perspective, how many kegs do you think you guys will have of it?
Should get about 20 kegs.
And, this will be available in October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you can get this brew, the special brew, through the month of October at the tap room here at Sweetwater Brewery. And $1 for each pint will go towards Casting for Recovery. And if you are interested in Casting for Recovery and any of their events or want to donate to them, you can go to castingforrecovery.org, castingforrecovery.org. And they have their next retreat in November. And they got about 14 patients going on that one. So they do this twice a year here in Georgia, Tom.
What a great initiative, this Casting for Recovery.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, nothing goes better with fly fishing than having a cold,
a nice cold one.
Stuff, so
and
I've done lots of fly fishing. Yeah.
A great way to sort of take your mind off of battling a condition that my own sister has gone through, and I know that you can get as a victim of breast cancer, you can get very, very preoccupied with what you're going through to whatever degree you are a victim of this horrific disease. But Casting for Recovery has managed to combine the joy of brewing and drinking a cold one with, as you say, fly fishing, which can be mentally medicinal in its own right.
I mean, it's totally therapeutic. Go out there in the nature and you see the birds. It's more than just about catching fish. It's seeing the water, hearing the water pass, seeing the birds, and just having some peace and quiet for a change. And if you're lucky, you'll snag a fish and reel it all in.
And just as an aside here, and taking advantage of the fact that you're standing in the warehouse of Sweetwater, what's the temperature in there to keep that beer as cold as they do? Because it's one of the biggest beer producers in the world, correct?
Well, I mean, they do 500,000 kegs per year, and this isn't refrigerated here, so I'm actually kind of breaking a sweat. This is basically room temperature, but if it's cool, I'm going to go show real quick.
Yeah.
The cool, this is what the kegs are, Tom. And I was afraid to be in here for too long because there's only just so many of these I can shove up in my, underneath my shirt and stuff. But yeah, this is where magic happens, right here. But if you want one of these like I said, one of these October special beers for Casting for Recovery and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Come out here in October, and it's the only place they'll sell growlers, crowlers, and you can get it here, and you can take them home. They're working on a label and they're working on a name, but that should be out by the 1st of October.
And I loved the way the guy described the taste of the brew. Did you get a little taste of what they made there?
It's not ready yet. They literally got it going today. They were throwing some barley in there, I believe, and they threw some hops in there. So they just got everything boiling today. And so what you saw in the video was, breast cancer survivors throwing their share of the, barley and the hops in there.
And
it's really cool. It's brewed
how
up
was the
today.
turnout there? How many people showed up?
Oh, they had, I'd say about a dozen people just for this event, just to get the beer going. They're going to make it 20 kegs of it to be sold in October. But then they've helped out 12,500 breast cancer survivors and patients throughout any age, any stage, is what they say. Any age, any stage.
All right, Casting for Recovery is the name of the organization that brings all this together.
CastingForRecovery.org.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you say that their next event is in November.
Yeah, and that's already filled up, but if you're interested in going, go to castingforrecovery.org.
All right.
It's a great benefit.
Yeah, great benefit, an amazing event. Really cool behind-the-scenes look at Sweetwater. Eli Jordan in the middle of the action there with the kegs. Eli, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for joining us here for the 3 p.m. hour of Fox Local. We're so glad that you streamed with us this afternoon. Boy, we covered a lot of ground here today, as we always do, and we're glad that you were along for the ride with us. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. The news continues right here, right now.